Hello again, you guys, and welcome back to my channel, The Poetry of Nice. So today I've got a sales update video for you, and I'm going to show you a cross-section across a variety of platforms today that have sold for me in the last month or two. It's been a little bit of a while since I did a traditional sales update video for you guys, simply because I've been vlogging my pulling inventory and shipping process recently, so you've seen quite a few sold items that way. However, I do want to revisit it and just give you guys, like I said, a good cross-section of all of the different kinds of items that have sold for me on a wide variety of platforms. I'm going to have some big sales in there, some big money makers, and then some just like everyday bread and butter sales, so that you get a good idea what is moving recently for me. Before I go any further, I'm going to let you know that this video is proudly sponsored by VENDOO. If you've been watching my channel recently, you'll know that I have been working with VENDOO. Originally, I did a full review video of the product. That was a sponsored video, but it was all my own opinion, and since then I've continued to use their product, which is a cross-listing software, to cross-post a good variety of my items from eBay to Poshmark, Mercari, and Etsy as well. And as promised, I have been keeping tabs on that. I'm going to let you know exactly how that's working out for me, both in terms of the money that I'm making simply from cross-listing those items and getting more eyes on them, as well as how I'm just enjoying using it really. Is it still for me? Would I still recommend going with VENDOO? All that to come in this video. All right, you guys, so as promised, I'm going to show you some sales that happened between very random dates. I know November 16th and December 22nd. I know that's a little while ago now. It's a good month to month and a half, but it's been a while since I've done a sales update video. I've taken more to doing my sales and shipping vlogs. I have picked 20 random items just across the board on the 4 different platforms that I sell, which is Poshmark, Etsy, eBay, and Mercari now. As you can see on my dashboard here, I currently have 117 active listings through VENDOO. You can import up to 125 on the plan that I have every single month, and I'll tell you about that plan a little bit further on in the video as well, so you know exactly what I am using personally and is working for me. But yeah, so I have 117 right now, and then as you can see here, I have sold 25 items through this in my first month. Now, because I'm doing this in a kind of date sensitive way between the 16th and the 22nd, and I only started using VENDOO on December the 3rd, I'm only going to be showing you sort of 19 days worth of VENDOO sales, but I'm still going to do a breakdown for you. So you can see what I made in gross sales in the first 19 days of using the VENDOO platform, simply because I cross-posted those items. I thought that would be a fun number to share, so I'll break down how much it cost me per month and then how much I made in those first 19 days, and you can see for me whether or not it was worth it, essentially. I think numbers are always a good thing to stand behind. So let's crack on. First item is an Etsy item, as you can see. What a random sale. Bolo, by the way, did not know that it was. I found this at a yard sale. I paid $1 for this. It was a little plastic tray, and I only picked it up because it was Sanrio and it was marked 1984. Sanrio is like the Hello Kitty brand, and it was little twin stars. I had never heard of this in my life, but I figured somebody out there might like it. Well, it sold for $59.95 plus shipping, and I was super surprised by that, just to let you know. I did not think it was going to sell for that much. I thought it was going to sell for like 15 bucks, so that was a good one. And this one is an example of something that I cross-posted. So I started on Etsy, and then I cross-posted this into the home goods on Poshmark using VENDOO, as well as I think Mercari and obviously Etsy here, and that way when this sold, I could go straight into VENDOO and I could deactivate this listing, mark it as sold on Etsy, and it went straight into that sold category that I showed you at the beginning of this video. So made it way easier to delist this item as well, because I have that add-on bundle on my VENDOO subscription, so I did not have to go into 3 or 4 different marketplaces to pull this item down. That right there is just about worth it for me. Okay, next item is an eBay item. This was something that I found at an estate sale. They were asking $1 per piece for their media, and obviously this is season 1 through 4 of one particular show, Downton Abbey, and they were all new and sealed. So I paid $4 for this, and it sold for the $22.99 that you see there plus the shipping. All right, this was a fun sale. It took me a while to figure out what on earth it was. Thank you to anybody who helped me in my haul videos to point me in the right direction. It's just a plush. I have gotten so into selling plush since I hit up that crazy yard sale with all of the really rare, obscure plush. If you haven't seen that, I will link that video because it is nuts. And since then, yeah, I've been really into my plush. And I think that's going to carry on into my upcoming, picking and thrifting season come spring. So watch this space for more plush information. If you're interested in selling it, this may be the channel to watch for a little while to see what sells, since I have so much of it that I'm listing. But yes, this one I listed for $79.99 because there was not another one exactly like it, and it sold within a couple of hours for the full asking price plus the shipping. Okay, another Etsy sale and another VENDOO cross-posting example. This is, as you can see, University of Tennessee volunteers. It was a vintage cardigan. Loved this. I just thought it was really nifty, kind of like 60s vibes or whatever. It was true vintage, and this sold for $44.95 plus the shipping. This actually had a lot of attention on a lot of different platforms, particularly eBay and Poshmark. Lots of questions and likes and things like that. But this is the kind of thing that often sells well for me on Etsy, so I wanted to make sure that I utilized VENDOO since I have it to be able to pop it on over there as well really quickly. All right, another VENDOO cross-posting example. This is obviously a Mercari sale. Mercari is just sort of getting going for me right now. I've only just started listing there, but I'm working on that. Making sure I get things cross-posted, because let me tell you, if you're interested in selling on Mercari, just being completely honest, on my phone or on my computer, I don't usually sit down and take the time to do all the dragging of the photos and double check my shipping weights and things like that in previous listings. So chances are I am not going to cross-post to Mercari if I don't have a simplified way to do it. And on VENDOO, it literally takes me like 2 to 3 minutes, because it's literally about shortening the title and filling in a couple of specifics, and that is it. But yes, Steven Universe, not familiar, Cartoon Network show, I believe. This was a Funko plush, and apparently it was super rare because it sold in just a day or two of pre-owned for $60 plus the shipping. All right, fun little sale. Just liked it is all. Vintage Bugs Bunny answering machine messages cassette from 1990 sold for the asking price of $12.99 plus the shipping. I just thought it was really fun, and I picked it up for 50 cents at a yard sale. All right, one of my absolute favorite sales, I think, of the year actually, because it's just cool. So I found this at a yard sale. It was one where they were cleaning out, I think, their mother stuff maybe, so it was kind of like an estate sale / yard sale. And I have it all on video. When I found it, the woman sort of showed it to me and said, oh look, there's this swimsuit, and I was like, oh, I'm grabbing that, that's really cool, because I realized it was true vintage from the 80s. And she sort of laughed in a nice way and was like, are you buying it? And I said, yeah, I'm gonna grab it. And it sold on Etsy for $189.95. I didn't think that was going to happen. I picked this up because I figured I could easily squeeze 30 to 40 out of it because of the novelty. And yeah, no, these are a definite bolo. Vintage Budweiser bathing suits. So yes, 190 bucks right there, and I must have paid like $1.87, I think it worked out at. So glad that I grabbed this and trusted my instincts. Yeah, keep your eyes peeled. All right, another Mercari sale. I believe this was cross-posted as well, and obviously Kristoff and Anna from Frozen. Kristoff is a bit of a bolo, just in case you are wondering. I didn't realize it. These are from the Disney store. They were my kids' plush. I actually picked them up on Facebook Marketplace, paid a couple of dollars for them when my kids were into Frozen. They're not anymore, so I'm slowly purging their toys. Anything that's worth listing, obviously I'm going to list, and anything else I'll just donate. But yeah, watch out for the Disney store Kristoff. For whatever reason, he's harder to find. All right, we have a Poshmark sale. This one was cross-posted as well on VENDOO. So obviously I could go in and deactivate this listing from the 4 different platforms that it was listed on. And it's a vintage Coca-Cola shirt. Nothing else to say really. Oh, Coca-Cola sweatshirt, I should say. Paid $3 at a rummage sale, sold for $30 on a best offer. All right, another surprise and another bolo. I actually passed this up. I went to that yard sale. It's in my videos. I will link it down below. The one that's like best yard sale I've ever been to. Everything was rare. I saw this. I actually picked it up and said to the woman, I had this when I was a child in the 90s, because you like shook its head and it purred, and we both laughed, and then I threw it back down. I didn't think anything of it. And then I went back and I bought out all of her yard sale leftovers. Again, another video I'll link down below if you're interested to see what I found. And this little guy was in the leftovers. And I kind of like chuckled again and was like, oh yes, I remember having this as a kid. And then I put it in a donate bag and didn't think about it again. And then I sort of had a moment of clarity and realized I don't know everything, not even close. So I sat down one evening and went through all my donate bags from that yard sale leftover pickup and researched everything. And I must have thrown in there a good $200 at least. Like, oh, what am I doing? So I'm glad I did that. I'm glad that I am entering this year realizing that I need to depend on research more. Like I do not know enough still, even after like 6 years of doing this as a career, to not depend on research and comps and things at least a little. So anyway, that was a long waffle. Just wanted to let you know, really. So I dug him out of the donate bag. I looked him up and yeah, vintage kitty kittens from 1992 are very, very sought after, particularly, wouldn't you know, the calico one. So I listed him. Now I'm going to tell you he was flawed. He only had whiskers on one side and bizarrely someone had cut him open and put things inside of him. So what I did is I fixed him. I took all the stuff out and I hand sewed him back up, and then I disclosed all of that in the listing as well. And he didn't have his stuffing inside anymore, so his body was kind of floppy. All of these things disclosed and shown in photographs, and he still sold in about an hour for $70. So bolo on the kitty kittens. You just can't make it up, can you? All right, this was another item from the yard sale that I just described to you, but this is one that I did pick up on my first go through at the actual yard sale itself. It's by a brand called Killstar, which is kind of like an alternative style brand. And as you can see, it's the handbook for the recently deceased, a Beetlejuice reference. And again, this is really rare. This is something they sold retail. I think they sold it about $75 retail, and now it's just not on the shelf anymore and you can't get it. And it is pretty sought after. This listing had like 100 likes. People were really interested in it. I had it up for I think 125, which was really pushing it, I know. Anyway, it ended up selling on a best offer of $80, which for something that I think I paid $2 for at the yard sale is not too bad at all. Oh, and this was also an item cross-posted using Vendo. So obviously it was getting lots of eyes on it. Couldn't go on Etsy because it wasn't vintage, but it did go on eBay, Poshmark and Mercari, and obviously ended up selling on Poshmark in the end. All right, I picked this up at a thrift store. This was like a mystery box that I found. The whole thing was like a carry case that closed up, and I paid $1.25 at the thrift store for it, and I basically picked it up. I knew it was like vintage WWF because it was marked 90s, but I didn't know what was inside, and I was just far too curious to put it back. So I bought it for $1.25. Anyway, it ended up selling for the best offer of $20. There were no like bolo figures in there. Some of them can do really well. It was just very kind of like generic stuff, but $1.25 into 20 still, buyer paid shipping. Why not? All right, this one was a nice surprise. So I picked this up for 25 cents. Vintage Otis, which is apparently like an elevator engineering company, is what my research told me. Apparently, these hats can do really, really well. Who knew? I just picked it up because I thought it was kind of cool, and for 25 cents, it's worth taking home and just double checking. And I'm glad I did. And this one sold for $37.50 plus the shipping on a best offer too. All right, another Poshmark sale here. Vintage LL Bean fleece-lined mom jeans, so high-rise, tapered legs, all the good stuff, and they sold for $40 on Poshmark plus shipping. These were a little pleasant surprise. I had this one and I had one other one that is also sold. They were both Rock Lee, the same character, just different depictions of them. I bought it was at that yard sale, the one I keep mentioning with the coolest stuff, and I bought a messenger bag there. And when I got home and opened it up, there were two of these long body pillowcases with the characters on. So I decided to list them. The bag is still listed, but both of the pillowcases sold for $30 a piece. So heck yeah. And yeah, why not? So the moral of the story is when you get home, always check through the bags and the pockets and things, because you never do quite know what you'll find. All right, another eBay sale. This I paid $2 for. It was brand new and sealed. Briar Spirit So Breyer being a very good kind of like equestrian style brand, horse brand. They do a lot of model horses and things like that. And this is stuff that you can't necessarily buy anymore. It's not sort of like on retail shelves. So people do turn to sort of like secondhand sellers. And so pay $2, sold for $29.99. All right, another vintage sale on Poshmark. If you haven't caught my latest video talking about the best-selling brands on Poshmark for me in 2020, I'll link that as well. If you're a Poshmark seller, definitely worth taking a peek at, just to see from another seller's point of view what kind of brands move the most for them, the most consistently on Poshmark. It's my 2 cents on Poshmark, basically. So vintage Tennessee Volunteers Rocky Top sweatshirt, absolutely loved this thing. I was asking a bit more, but I decided to take a best offer because it had been listed a little while. I paid $3, same rummage sale as the Coca-Cola sweatshirt was from that I showed you just a little while ago, and this one sold for $32. Totally random sale on Poshmark as well. I paid, I think it was like $1.90, maybe $2 for this. I do not pick up much Chico's anymore. In fact, I'm moving away from a lot of those kind of brands, like kind of mall brands or department brands in 2021. So I'm clearing a lot of that stuff out of my closet. I had a lot of sales in the last couple of weeks that were around that kind of like $15 to $20 mark, because I'm trying to get it all out basically. But this was an example of something I probably would pick up still, and it's sold really quickly. So it was a wool, very cozy, oversized collar coat, just very classic. It has very much an Eileen Fisher look to it, I think, and it sold for $25, like I said, within a week. All right, and the last 2 sales are eBay sales. So these I picked up at a yard sale. Again, it's in one of my videos. They are Longaberger, which is a fantastic brand when it comes to like baskets and things. I've sold a bit of it recently just because I now know to look for it. Essentially, I never knew before, and now I do. And I picked up this set of handmade basket canisters, and they did have the plastic canisters inside as well. Always check that. And I picked them up for $30 at a yard sale, and they sold for $135 plus the shipping. And the last eBay sale I'm going to show you is this vintage 1950s Maurice Rentner fit and flare dress. It was fabulous. Found it at a thrift store for $6.99 and picked it up purely based on style and the fact that it was vintage. I thought it was so cool. Anyway, this brand is a little bit sought after, and as I said, it sold for $150. Okay, let me break down my Vendo sales for you so far. So, well, not so far. This is going to be December the 3rd through December 22nd, like I said, because that's where these listings are at. And I have another sales video coming out at the end of the month that's going to cover December 22nd through. So 19 days, basically. I'm going to let you know the plan that I use with Vendo is $19.99. Now, this is a sponsored video, so they are sponsoring my plan currently, but I have every intention of continuing to use this product after the sponsorship is over. I'm just going to let you know that, full transparency. So $19.99 is what my plan costs, a simple plan, which is 125 new imports or new listings every single month. Now, I do have the $11.99 bundle add-ons because that is what allows me to import my items. So if I list initially on eBay, I can import that listing and then just basically push it out to Poshmark, Etsy, and to Mercari if that's the way that I choose to do it. It also allows me to relist and delist from that one sort of database, if you like, where I told you earlier, you know, an item sells and it's listed on 4 different platforms. I can go into Vendo and I can mark it as sold on that platform, and it will take that listing or deactivate it from all of the other places. And that's really valuable for me because it is such a time saver. And it also allows me, that bundle, to list on a variety of marketplace. Basically, there is no limit anywhere that Vendo allows you to list, and they have, I think, 8 marketplaces right now. Again, see my previous review video to learn a little bit more about the ins and outs of it and what they offer, but it allows me to list on all of those different ones that I would choose to. So all of those together would cost $31.98 a month. So that would be the outgoing for the use of the Vendo platform. Now, in just the first 19 days, and bearing in mind, I was just getting going with it, and it was the Christmas season, so truth be told, a little bit slow when it came to working. So in the first 19 days, my gross sales total for the items that sold due to being cross-posted on Vendo, they were listings that are in my Vendo system and were cross-posted using the Vendo software and made live using Vendo. My gross sales was $329.95. So would I spend $32 to make $330 and to make things easier on myself? Yes,
I would, especially with that only being the first 19 days. So obviously that's not the full month that I would have paid for anyway. I would still have like 11 to 12 more days that I could use the software, and it's just ramping up from there. The fact that my inventory is getting bigger and bigger, and I'm building on Mercari, and I'm starting to like stimulate Etsy into movement again, to me it's absolutely worth it. So if you have any questions, drop them down below. I'm always happy to help.
And there you have it, folks. That is my sales update for today. Stay tuned for more sales update. I'll still be doing my shipping vlogs, and I will still be doing some thrift with me's. Obviously yard sales and things are not going on right now, and because of the way that things are in the world, I cannot guarantee that I will be out thrifting every single week, but I will certainly be getting as much thrifty and reseller related content out to you guys as I possibly can. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you enjoyed this video, the like button as well, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, you guys.